Okay, so my name is Jacob, and today we're going to be going over Biopower and Black Mirror, specifically relating to Season 4, Episode 3, Crocodile. Quick introduction of Black Mirror, it's a Netflix TV show. What's the episode about? I'm going to just give a quick plot summary real quick of the episode. So here's some main characters, it'll make sense as I explain the plot real quick. The episode starts off with a guy and a girl driving down a snowy road. The guy was drinking and he accidentally hits someone and kills them. He obviously doesn't want to go to jail, so he makes the girl with him help get rid of the body. They put it in a lake. Right after that happens, the episode jumps 15 years later. We found this out because someone says 15. It was 15 years ago. The girl from the beginning has a kid and a husband, not the same guy from the beginning. And she has like a nice architect job. She's in a hotel doing a presentation, and then the guy from the beginning shows up and expresses how he feels guilt for killing the guy and hiding it because he found a news article where they said they never found it. And so he wants to send a letter to the wife of the guy he hit with the car. Architect girl, as the slide says, not very happy about this because she thinks it'll lead to them getting caught, and so the guy's gonna do it anyway. So to keep him from talking, she strangles him. And after this happens, while she's like cleaning up, she sees a guy out her window get hit by a self-driving delivery van. This is important to the episode. Stick with me. Then it cuts to like an insurance agent going to a house of the guy hit by the pizza van. This is where we get introduced to the memory reader device. It's the device on this slide here. Basically, it just connects to the person and they can read their memories. And they do say like the more emotional a memory was, the more vivid it will be in the reader. It kind of looks like an old like home movie VHS still. So after she interviews him, we get introduced to another like a series of witnesses that the insurance agent finds through reading various people's memories, because it shows like other people that are there. She's trying to find someone who saw the accident actually happen. That way they can see who's at fault. But everyone somehow like missed it barely. So eventually it leads to the architect girl because she was looking at her window and someone across the street saw her. The insurance agent goes to the architect girl's house and wants to interview her, but she's like doesn't want to do it. But the insurance girl kind of pressures her and is like, well, get the police involved, but it's like a hassle. The architect girl tries to hide the fact that she murdered someone that night by not thinking about it, but as we said, more emotional something is, more vivid it is. So she thinks of it and there's like flashes of it, which freaks the insurance agent out, so she tries to leave, but the architect girl realizes this and ties her up and like interrogates her to see if anyone knew where she was at. She ends up hooking the insurance agent up to the memory device to see, and we see that she told her husband where she was going, and so the architect girl takes her car and uses it to find her address because it's like saved in like the GPS. And then she goes to the insurance agent's house and kills the husband and her kid, so there's no witnesses. The architect girl does get caught, and that's the reason the guinea pig is a main character here. I thought it was a hamster, and in my script I refer to it as a hamster, but it is a guinea pig. The police go to the house and connect the memory device to the hamster. And that's how they find it. This is how it happened. That's the end of the episode. Anyways, what is biopower? How does this relate to anything that I just said? Well, let's go over the main ideas of biopower first. Big thing is a shift away from sovereign power. So sovereign power would be like traditional kings and monarchs where they would just like kill people they didn't like or torture them. Basically, the ability to kill someone is sovereign power, where biopower is a change to decide who lives. For example, think about sovereign power, like I said, kings, monarchs, how they would kill people they didn't like, where biopower is the opposite of that. It's done through the tracking of public health, medical institutions, smartwatches, anything of the sort. Another way to think of it is sovereign power is like a negative influence, saying, hey, don't do this or we're going to kill you. Where biopower is positive influence, not positive in the sense of good, but just like not taking your life. More like you do the right thing and you're optimal, and therefore you are higher value. And that takes us to the second point, which optimization of the population in the individual. I just like the population like rhymed with optimization almost. The more efficient and productive a population is, the more can be gained from it. Basically, the goal of biopower is to optimize efficiency, because the more optimized a population is, the more economic and militaristic potential, and therefore more power, are in the hands of those who lead that population. This happens at both the individual level, through schools, militaries, scheduling at jobs, stuff like that. This also happens on the population level. Think large-scale health campaigns, vaccination campaigns, tracking of birth/death rates, choosing who's considered like at risk for certain things, and if they're worth treating with insurance or paying for. You could look at it almost as all these factors go into a sort of score, for lack of better terminology, to decide how good a country or population is. The more optimized, the more efficient, the more healthy it is, the more good they are. In addition with this, Biopower creates what is the normal, in quote. This is done through medical, educational institutions, statistics. Biopower works to set what normal means through these organizations. It doesn't tell the individual, you can't do that or it'll be bad. It instead tells the individual they're abnormal and should be corrected. This creates a pressure to conform. In traditional sovereign power, you would have a lot of pushback when people are forced to conform, like a revolution. But in Biopower, there's not that pushback because there's not direct force being applied. For example, think about how students who are deemed to be below average in school are given extra pressure to do better and conform with what is considered the normal level. So, like, think of that, if a student's considered below average, they're given extra help, right? So they're given extra care, which takes us into the fourth point, care or control. This is how Biopower is very sneaky. There's no scary, oppressive dictator or monarch telling you what to do. There's no big target or bad guy. Kings can be overthrown when people get tired of them, but if a population doesn't know they're being controlled in a certain way or they're being manipulated, then there's no reason to resist. In this way, the role of who enforces the rules moves from a government or a king into the individual. Basically, Biopower could be disguised as self-care, self-improvement, and the individual would become their own enforcer of the norm. But how does this really relate to Black Mirror, or this episode of Black Mirror? There's a few main points I want to focus on here. First one being the memory reader and surveillance. I think this is the most obvious, which is why I'm starting with it. A core pillar of Biopower is surveillance. This is how governments monitor populations and collect statistics to dissuade the abnormal. The memory reader device is like the ultimate evolution of surveillance capabilities, as technologies such as smartwatches, phones, cameras, surveys, and much more are used now, but we have nothing quite capable of the memory reader. If this technology is available, it would definitely be used by like medical, insurance, institutions, police, investigators, and all sorts of things, because it would be very useful to them, but it could also get taken advantage of, I feel like. This episode is literally about an insurance agent investigating a claim and using the memory reader to ensure who's at fault before the insurance company will pay out. The memory reader is obviously the ultimate form of surveillance, but the refusal to use them results in suspicion or even potential for legal repercussions. We see in the episode, if someone refuses to use it, they're threatened to get the police involved, or it just basically to be more of a hassle. We see this with the insurance agent when she first goes to the architect girl's house. They're basically pressured to use it for the greater good of society. I'm sure you can already see the connection here in terms of Biopower. It sets using the memory device as the norm and seeks to abolish the abnormal through social stigma or suspicion if you don't comply to the use of it.
I'm sorry, I'm really busy. I've got a lot of work
I don't want
to
to
do.
sound heavy, but it is a legal requirement since last year.
It's a legal requirement.
Well, if you've witnessed an incident, yes. But I have to notify the police when people refuse, and when they get involved, it just drags everything out, so...
Those who give in and use the mind reader are seen as what a good person does. If someone goes against this, they're abnormal, and they are the problem. Not only that, but when someone does get over their memory to the reading device, and this biological process, an emotion or a memory becomes data. This is much like how now in Biopower, biological processes such as heart rate, blood pressure, weight, and much more become data to assess the health and efficiency of a population. These can be used, like I said again, in insurance or generally assessing the goodness of a population or how good their stats are, for lack of better terminology. The episode is about searching for someone who has seen an incident vividly or emotionally enough to solve a case.
The more emotional your response, the more vivid your memory of it is.
There's a search for who has the most optimized memory, and their value is placed above others, much like how Biopower seeks to optimize populations by placing the value of efficiency over that of other factors, like health or blood pressure. Biological processes being turned into data to assess some metric or stat, basically. So the final point here is that the memory reader is a form of power disguised as a form of care, much like the fourth point in Biopower for the last slide. Institutions utilize the memory reader under the guise of care for society through solving cases, both crime, insurance, Police use it to solve crimes, that's good. Insurance use it to see if something's fraud, lowers prices for everyone, right? But in actuality, it can be used as a form of control as well. They're establishing this as a social norm. Institutions go after who they would like to know information from, and people are often guilted into letting their minds be read, like I said, to be a good person or help someone else out. This is sneaky, as biopower often is. The insurance agent collecting people's memories is just doing her job. She doesn't see herself in a position of power. She's not abusing power. She's just trying to solve this case. In reality, though, she's able to impact whose memories are read and whose aren't. She has the power to impact people's lives and can decide who is within the normal and who is not. Like when she first goes to the architect girl's house and she deems her not normal by not wanting to share her memories at first and tries to persuade her to become normal and conform to that standard. This is great and all, but it's a TV show, so how does a TV show relate to real life? It can be fun to go full like English teacher and analyze every part of some sort of media, TV show, books, literature, right? But why does it actually matter in the case of this example? And how does it impact you, me, and everyone else right now? We live in an increasing time of surveillance with AI being used in security cameras, facial recognition, helping solve an increasing number of crimes every day, and much more. And as the internet and technology continue to develop, it will get increasingly easy for governments and institutions and companies to know everything about everyone. Right now, we don't have anything close to the memory reader. We do have trackers in other points of our life about health, things smartwatches, cell phones, medical checkups, and everywhere in between. All of these can be used to control populations through defining what normal people do, and those who don't abide by that are outcast or not given support or not given help. Or the opposite, those who conform are given benefits. The biggest thing I want you to take away from this is why biopower is so much more dangerous than sovereign power, and that's because true power is sneaky. You likely won't see it coming and choose to participate in whatever is normal, because not doing so is much more difficult. That's how it's designed to be. In the past, people would get fed up with those in power and start a revolution, right? Overthrow a king or a government. Now, though, it's becoming increasingly difficult to tell who's truly in power and what their motives are. This episode, though, like many Black Mirror episodes, acts as a warning for our future. It reminds us to keep in mind who will have access to the information we give out. We become data points in a system, much like how memories become data on the memory reading device. Not everyone is acting in our best interest, and not every act of care is done out of goodwill. People in the episode see the memory device as normal and something that benefits the overall population. So just try to keep in mind why someone may want your information and what are the motives behind people's actions. So I want to leave you with a quote here from Foucault himself. Power is not an institution, not a structure, neither is it a certain strength we are endowed with. It is the name that one attributes to a complex strategical situation in a particular society.